Hello, everyone. It's the hardcore legend Mick Foley wishing a nice day to everyone there, right there at True Heel Heat. Yeah.
Hello, hello, hello. It is me, your True Hill Phenom, SP3. We are live on the True Hill Heat YouTube and Facebook for our Impact Wrestling Rebellion 2023 preview for this Sunday's huge show from Toronto, Ontario, Canada. So, of course, we had to bring in the best Canadian in wrestling media. You've seen him here before. He was just on with us to talk about the WWE sale. You see him over on Fightful. He is the head of everything Impact Wrestling, on the reviews for the main shows, on the review for the weekly show with Crest the Star. It is Joel Pearl. How you doing, good sir?
My goodness, what an intro. SP3, I'm doing fantastic now. I mean, that was, no one's going to top that. While you were saying it, I was like, oh, did he get Spencer Love again? Is he back?
No, he's the most positive. He's the most positive.
No, this is great. I'm really excited. My plan is to be at Rebellion this Sunday at Rebel Nightclub. It's a return to form because Impact did start the Rebellion pay-per-view at Rebel in 2019, and they haven't been there in the last few years. So, pandemic and then just not coming into Canada for a little bit. This is exciting for any Impact fan who is a Canadian. This is a good time to be an Impact fan.
And they've been doing a lot in Canada, like the last couple of shows, because they did the taping following Sacrifice in Canada at St. Clair College. So Canada, it's like his home base right now. It's switched from Nashville to now Canada.
So they did, like you said, they did Windsor for Sacrifice and then TV tapings. They're doing Rebellion, and then they're doing TV tapings the next night. And then in May, they're coming to London, Ontario, where they're going to do Under Siege at the end of May, and then 2 nights of TV tapings. And then they're back in Windsor for Slammiversary in July, along with TV tapings. And for those who don't know, Scott D'Amore, who's the president of Anthem Sports, he founded Border City Wrestling, which is in Windsor, Ontario. So he can take a lot of the talent. He can use a lot of the facilities. He knows the area. Some of the talent also live out by that way or in Detroit across the bridge. So like it makes sense. But at the same time, yeah, it feels like they're moving from Nashville, even though officially I think they're still in Nashville. If they're moving this way, all I'm saying is your boy's looking for a gig. And if George Iceman doesn't want to get the scoops for you, I'll get the scoops. I'll put on the stupid George Iceman voice just for you, Impact Wrestling. Just for you.
You need to work, the nepotism, because Scott D'Amore is your father. Right. So you need to work that nepotism line and at least get you, we got Santino. He seems like he's transitioning from director of authority to in-ring talent. He's on the card. You could fill that spot.
Let's do it. Let's go. Scott, let's talk. I've been trying for years. I had SP3. I was this close to landing an interview with Daddy, with Scott D'Amore. This was June last year at Greektown Wrestling. And why is Greektown Wrestling important to me? Because A, they've given me a lot of talent to talk to. And 2, for the TV taping friends, Kenny King is going to be facing Greektown Wrestling proprietor and champion Channing Decker on the Monday taping. So keep that in mind. But at one point, I had a quick interview with Josh Alexander when he worked a Greektown Wrestling show, and who was standing with the man himself was Scott D'Amore and Ross Foreman, who is Impact's director of media. And I didn't ask Scott at the time because I wasn't prepared, but I was this close and I haven't seen Scott since. So Scott, if you're watching, if you're listening, let's talk.
Come on, Scott. You didn't send any child support throughout the years. At least get Joel a job with Impact Wrestling, because this man knows his Impact Wrestling. So he was the first person that I asked to be on here, and I'm glad he had the time to join us. Thank you all for joining us for our Rebellion preview. We appreciate you joining us live, or if you're watching us on demand, remember to show your appreciation back. Drop a thumbs up on the video, share it with your friends, subscribe if you are new to the True Hill Heat YouTube channel. You can also show your support at patreon.com/True Hill Heat. $3 a month, more exclusive content, the True Hill Prediction Championship. We are re-upping it. This is now the second week of our season 4. I'm a 2-time champion out of the 3 seasons. Just want to let you know that, Joe. I know my predictions, so I'm gonna get some information from you, because you know Impact a lot more than me. And of course, sound off in the live chat. We want to hear your predictions for the card, your thoughts on Impact Rebellion coming up this Sunday. We got Alan Banky in the chat saying, "What's up, SP3 and Joel?" We got Ace saying the same thing. We got Vala B here with us, always joining us for the live streams. We appreciate you, good sir. We got Alan Banky saying, "I'm sorry, it's really what's up, boss, SP3 and Team Canada member Joel Pearl." Yes, you Team Canada. You taught Petey Williams how to do the Canadian Destroyer. I know it.
That's true. You know what? I didn't want to let the cat out of the bag. And you know what's funny is I'll plug Newsworthy right now on Fightful Overbooked. Jeremy Lambert and I host a show where we talk about the news every Saturday at 10:15 Eastern. It goes up on the site. And we do mention Team Canada in this week's episode. So go check that out.
See, he's the long lost member. You know, you had Eric Young, you had Bobby Roode, you had Petey Williams, Scott D'Amore. Was it A1? Was A1 the big brolic dude that was with them?
I can't even remember anymore.
Yeah, I know there was a big
So
brolic dude. I forget. It goes over my head. But that was really Joe Pearl before he had a kid. You know,
That was me.
kid, you let your body go.
Yeah,
You know, it happened to me. Happened to Joel. He's not as brolic as he used to be. A1. I know that's your real identity. But yes,
I used to look like the Wall in WCW. They had me. I was the guy at the top of what was the name of the Nitro where they used to shoot? It was Club La Vila. I was at the top of Club La Vila. Hogan pointing up at me, and I was doing the "That's the Wall, brother." Anyway, that was me. Then I had
it happens. It all happens to the best of us.
The next day, I let go. Everything was out. It was it's over.
Keep sounding off in the live chat. Of course, super chat donations are always welcome. Helps the channel grow, and it'll make sure we highlight your comment on screen. But let's get into this card before we get into the matches. Overall, what have you thought about the build-up to Impact Wrestling Rebellion 2023? They've had a lot of, mismatches with injuries happening, but I think that they were able to bring it together and have a solid build to this. But what have you thought watching the show every single week, and your review show over on Fightful Wrestling with Cresta Star? Always great stuff. If you don't watch the show, get it from them. They'll watch it for you.
Absolutely. We just for those who don't know, it's us and the Ring of Honor post show together. They start early. That's with Kate and Righteous Reg. They start the show early, and then we pick it up around 10:10 after Impact goes off the air, Eastern time talking. The build for Rebellion has been weird, and I think that's just because of the cards they've been dealt. Mickie James got injured before the last set of or during the last set of tapings, not the Windsor ones, but the ones I believe in Atlanta. And and as a result, they didn't know what to do with her. And then Josh Alexander gets injured. This is going into the Windsor tapings. They didn't expect that one, that's for sure. So everything got thrown into disarray. Your top 2 matches got absolutely just shot out of a cannon. Can't do them. It's over. And also the best stories you had at the time. You had the longest reigning Impact World Champion. You had the woman who won the Knockouts World Championship after running the gauntlet, doing a last rodeo gimmick where if she lost, she was done. She hit the top of the mountain. She made it. And now she was going to have a rematch against the woman that, tapped her out for all intents and purposes, even though they didn't have the official tap out. The story was there for all of these matches. This was supposed to be Steve Maclin's crowning moment for all the heat that it was going to get. This was Maclin's time, and it was going to be really big. But we're not getting that. We're getting different matches, and they've done a lot to build it in the short time that they've had. So I give Impact full marks for making the build to both replacement matches big, We'll talk about those, but the rest of the card, it's fairly strong. There's nothing here that I'm sitting being like, this is gonna suck. And there's some matches are going to be better than others. That's just what happens. But as we go through it, there's some excitement for some of the stuff on this card.
Now let's start with the countdown to Rebellion, as they're going to have a championship matchup as well as a tag team matchup. We'll start with the championship battle, as it's going to be for the Impact Knockouts tag team championships. You got the Coven of Taylor Wilde and Kylan King defending against the Death Dolls of Jessica, because she's sick, and Rosemary. Of course, the Death Dolls are dealing with, I guess you could say, the passing over of Taya Valkyrie that went to the Dark Realm recently. The Dark Realm, or as I would like to call it, the Elite Realm. And the Coven is the ones that took the Impact Knockouts tag team titles from the Death Dolls of Jessica and Taya just a few weeks back. Who do you got in this one, and what have you thought about this build-up?
So I'm just looking over, by the way. If I just move myself a little bit, I'm right under Jonathan Gresham's body.
Yeah, look at that. Look at this man's body.
Look at that. I've been working for months on this. Never looked better.
Sick tan.
Thank you. I've already brought us off the rails. We have plenty to talk about. Anyway, okay.
It's going to be great for the podcast listeners.
Yeah, exactly. You got to watch the video, friends. I'm sorry. You just got to watch the video. It's as good as it gets. Coven versus Death Dolls. Okay. I think just running into it, yes, I agree with Ace in the chat saying the Coven's going to win. The reason for that is because, like you alluded to, SP3, Taya she's not dead. She's in the undead realm. And this is the smart thing that Impact does. When they know a talent is completely done, they kill them off. When someone like Taya last time they did this to her, she got brought to jail, right? Shipped off to the maximum security in Stanford, which was hilarious. But they also leave an out for a story in case she comes back, which is what they're doing here in case the things with AEW doesn't work out for Taya, or maybe there's some crossover availability for AEW and Impact again. They're leaving the door open, which I thought was very smart. There's also a larger story here about the history of Jessica. Jessica was Havoc, and now the Undead Realm turned her into Jessica, and you have Rosemary trying to cover up the fact that Jessica is Havoc because they have a history as well. Father James Mitchell brought in Havoc 2019, somewhere along those lines. They feuded for a little while before eventually teaming up. There is a larger story to tell between what's going on with Havoc with Jessica, as she is now, and Rosemary. And I think that's going to start to play out more and more. We saw it on this past week's episode of Impact, where Rosemary couldn't get into the Undead Realm. She was blocked out, and they were trying to blame the Coven, when really feels to me like it's Rosemary trying to keep the secret from Jessica even longer, because Taya was like, you got to tell her. And Rosemary's like, I'll deal with it. It's fine. So eventually it's all going to hit her in the face. Maybe Rosemary turns. Maybe Havoc comes back. Regardless, Coven probably going to walk out of this with the championships, because unlike other companies where you hot potato your women's tag team championships, Impact doesn't really do that as often. And I think they want to start building Kylan King as well. And they have someone who is a veteran in Taylor Wilde to do this with. And she's also trying, Taylor Wilde, to figure out her character. So there's a lot of intricate storytelling. It's good for a countdown show, but I think we're trying to move past the Death Dolls as a team and into some sort of feud down the line.
I can definitely see that. Me, myself, when I was watching the show, I thought it was Father James Mitchell who was the one that was making the blocking them, because I know Father James Mitchell introduced the Hex as challengers for the Death Dolls just a couple of months back, I believe, at Hard to Kill. But he might have some connection with the Coven. Maybe Taylor Wilde and her cards have summoned the devil, the what is he? The associate of the devil. His boss is the devil, Father James Mitchell. So I could see that, but I do agree with you, with Ace in the chat. I think that the Coven retain. I think they are really trying to get behind Kylan King being one of their major new signings here in 2023. So yeah, I think they're going to keep the titles for a little bit here. Now we got another countdown matchup that was just announced on the Go Home show to Rebellion. It's going to be former Impact World Tag Team Champions Heath and Rhino going against Champagne Singh and Shira. I am not too sure. You watch, like I said before, you watch the weekly show a little bit more up close than I do. I just remember them doing like the vignette with Champagne Singh where he's pouring out the champagne and he said he wants to be called Champagne Singh, but I don't know the buildup going into it. I believe it was around the time they were doing tapings in Las Vegas. I know these two teams went at it on before the Impact, the BTI before the show. I don't watch that regularly, but let us know what's going on with this story here heading into this matchup.
So you've more or less hit it on the head. Yes, Champagne Singh, who was Raj Singh, hit it big in Vegas at the tapings at Sam's Town. Good for him. Every wrestler who goes to Vegas with a televised company, one wrestler needs to come out with a new gimmick where they are filthy rich because they hit the jackpot. And Raj Singh was the perfect guy to do it. They completely overhauled his look too. I love it. Gia Miller, who's been doing the commentary for BTI, she's normally doing backstage interviews. She points out when Champagne Singh starts this whole Champagne Singh gimmick that he's got red bottom boots. He has red bottom Louboutin wrestling boots.
Nice.
Stuff that, like, this is not a serious tag team. Shira and Singh eat L's more often than not. They also ate the L last week on BTI against Heath and Rhino. They're probably going to win this, and they're probably going to start a little bit of an ascent for Singh and Shira, where eventually, again, like all wrestlers, when they strike it rich, eventually they have to blow all their money, and then Singh will become bum ass Singh, or whatever his version is going to be, where he's just poor on the street and Shira has to pull him up by his bootstraps, whatever it is. I don't know what goes on with Heath and Rhino because I don't know what's going on, A, with their contracts, and B, with their story. You can have them win again and then have them challenge the winner of the Ultimate X tag team title match. We'll talk about that shortly, but other than that, I just see Shira and Singh getting a win and maybe starting to tell a story. Them and Zicky Dice and Swingman should probably hang out sometime.
Why not? Why not? I do agree with you, though, with the Las Vegas thing. And this is more of an upgrade, it sounds like, than Bum-Ass Corbin to Happy Corbin. That was a downgrade because Bum-Ass Corbin is superior to Happy Corbin. But this year feels like an upgrade for Champagne Singh. I would love to go for them, but I am going to go for Heath and Rhino because I know recently, I think it was at the end of last year, I believe they re-signed with the company. I know Rhino did around like the fall of 2022. I believe Heath did as well, and I can see them getting back into position for the Impact World Tag Team titles because their run at the end of 2022 did not last long. I think it lasted like a month and a half before the Machine Guns beat them for the title. So I can see them getting back into play there.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll see where it goes, but it'll be a fun little match.
Yes, a fun little match. Get a little bit of time. The countdown to Rebellion kicks off at 7:30 p.m. on Sunday. But let's get into the main card here. We got first up one of a few multi-man matches on this card, as it's going to be the design of Diener, Khan, and Callahan going up against the digital media champion Joe Hendry, Dirty Dango, and the director of authority, Santino Marella. It was, I believe, the seventh step of the whole journey for Callahan that Diener told him that he had to eliminate all other authority above Callahan, and the only authority could be the design. This led to an attack on Santino Marella, which led to Santino and Dirty Dango convincing Scott D'Amore to give them a multi-man matchup, with Dirty Dango teaming up with Joe Hendry against the design. Scott D'Amore said, well, that's two of you. There's going to be at least three in this matchup. And Santino says he's sick of standing on the sidelines. He's going to get in play on the Go Home show. He pulled out the Cobra, hit Angels with the Cobra. Who do you think walks out with their victory here? And how do you think this is going to progress the ongoing story with the design? And when will Callahan officially become a member of the design, or if at all?
Hear my words. Sami Callahan pins Santino Marella. And we continue on with this whole will Sammy implode the design or join the design feud? Santino's here. It's fine. Last night they mentioned this is going to be Santino Marella's first match in 9 years. They're lying to you. Once again, I'm going to bring up Greektown Wrestling out of Toronto, Ontario, Canada, where Santino Marella had a match in a tag team in December on Fight Plus. He had a match with, he teamed up with Jock Sampson. Jock Sampson, by the way, we have an interview with him coming. He's a great guy. He's been around the business for 17 years and he's got stories. He's never been a TV wrestler. He's always been an indie guy. He's got stories. Anyway, good guy to chat with. Santino is just gonna and again, I see in the chat like Santino wrestling again should be interesting. He's been wrestling and he hasn't been wrestling as Anthony Corelli, his real name. He's been wrestling as Santino Marella because he has the IP, right? Yes. He owns the name. Let me tell you, the opening spot you're going to see when Santino gets in the ring. Santino is going to have his glasses on when he gets in the ring. He is going, and I said this last night on the Impact show, by the way. The referee is going to say, Santino, you can't wrestle with your glasses. So Santino is going to take off his glasses. And then he is going to start squinting at his opponent as if he can't see because he's blind. He's going to start taking random punches as he circles the ring with his opponent. They'll do a comedy spot, and then eventually he'll be able to see, and the match will go on as it should. That is the opening Santino comedy spot that he has been doing every single time for the last God knows how many years. I like Santino. I like Anthony. I like human. Fine. This 6-man tag, I don't want to see Joe Hendry look bad. I don't care about Dango. Dango can look stupid because Dango is stupid, despite the fact that he gave an interview where he said he wanted to be a serious wrestler. And Santino is Santino. And then the design story is a whole other chapter. So what do? Do you have the designs finally standing tall and realizing their potential? Or do you have Diener and Callahan going face to face again and having problems, but Callahan pins Santino anyway and basically takes care of step 7, which is the authority. You got to take out the authority member. I don't care for this match, but it's just going to be what it's going to be. Santino can be funny. He did break me a few times, but in a match, I don't need it.
I have not laughed at anything Santino involved in probably this decade, in the last decade, since like 2010, 2011. That was the last time I laughed at anything Santino. I think the last time I laughed at anything Santino was the in-ring segment with Vladimir Kozlov and Sheamus back in like 2011. That's the last time I laughed at anything Santino did. I will say, that's a lie. I did laugh at him calling Bully Ray Bobby
Ray. Thank you.
Bobby Ray was funny. That was funny. I would give him credit for that. But really laugh out loud, yeah, it was that segment with Kozlov and Sheamus. I would have said coming into this, it's a legend coming back, legend quote unquote, with Santino coming back. They probably going to give him the win. But the fact that they gave him the Cobra spot on the Go Home show, I automatically changed my pick. And I was like, yeah, the design's probably going to win now, because they already gave away the big spot they would be building up to if he was going to get the win in this matchup for Santino. And that's you save the Cobra for the pay-per-view. But if they're giving it away on the Go Home show, yeah, the design wins.
Absolutely. And he's going to do it in front of his kid. He's going to land on his back and take the pin in front of his kid. Good for you, Santino.
Make his kid proud. Absolutely. This one is a little bit more interesting for sure, in a longer storyline here, as it's going to be a last rites matchup, basically a casket match. It's going to be Eddie Edwards going one-on-one with PCO. These two men were in the Honor No More stable for months last year in 2022, and towards like the end, after a few multi-man matches where PCO kept taking the fall, Eddie Edwards basically made PCO the punching bag of Honor No More until PCO snapped, attacked the rest of the members after Eddie Edwards ended the group, and basically they've been feuding ever since. They had their big brawl in the desert, which led to someone quote unquote running down PCO and saving Eddie Edwards. It was alluded that it was supposed to be Kenny King, but all along I knew who it was. I knew who it was from the start. I was like, it's Alicia. Alicia's finally gonna be on his side. Alicia's gonna, and then it was revealed 2 weeks ago during their first one-on-one matchup in Impact. Alicia turned heel, helping Eddie win the matchup by nailing PCO with a kendo stick, and now we have the last rights match to finally put a bed to this storyline. I'm gonna go with PCO here. What have you thought about the build up to this matchup, and who do you think wins?
First of all, you're not giving full effect to this match. It's PCO versus Eddie. That's all it's been this entire time. Eddie. Anyway. PCO. Here's the problem with this. If PCO wins the match, you've effectively buried Edward Edwards alive. Okay. If you bury PCO, well, guess what happens? He's not human.
He's gonna come back. Yeah.
Back. And then what? I just got a text from my wife saying, "What the hell are you doing in there?"
That's usually the text I get when I start yelling.
she's working in the next room. That's great. So I see PCO winning, but I also see Lish like getting him out of the grave and then throwing PCO in, and then it's it. And then PCO takes a month off and we're back to the races, but somewhere else. Just like get PCO and Edward Edwards away from each other. I don't care for Edward Edwards and Lish Edwards, like the Edwards is. I don't care for them together, but we're gonna Edward Edwards is what I call them. I don't.
You've been doing that for a while. I will say. I give you credit for that.
There is no reason for this match or this feud to continue beyond where it is. So we'll see where they go with it. I expect PCO to. I do expect him to win. I do, but then they're going to do some tomfoolery and write him off for a little bit, and that'll be it.
See, Edward Edwards did not like us making fun of him. He kicked me out of my own stream. So, but you're going with Edward Edwards. I'm going with PCO. I see a lot of.
I'm going with PCO, but I think at the end, after PCO wins, the Edwards is take care of PCO and write him off for a little bit.
That's fair. I could see that, and it that kind of makes more sense. I do agree. We got a couple of difference in opinions with a couple of these. We got CPZ who says, with Josh Alexander gone, I feel like they need Eddie to go babyface again. There's a huge void there. I think there's people that can fill that void. I would say mostly in the X Division matchup, there's guys there that can fill that void. I don't think Eddie can be a babyface right now after last year, where he was basically the top heel in the company
and obnoxious as hell. Also, his wife just rejoined him, and we're going to talk about couples in Impact and how that might flesh out in the next little while as well. So there's some opportunity there.
Yes. We also got here Alan Bakey saying the real question is, will PCO finally die for good this time? Nope, he's not human.
No, and he just re-signed a contract with Impact Wrestling, so he'll be unhuman in Impact for a little bit longer.
This is like the longest resurrection of a career that I've ever seen.
Also, shout out Team Canada WCW member PCO.
Absolutely. There's so many variants of PCO that we've seen. Vala B saying that time for main event Kaz as a top babyface. And that's a good segue because we're going to be talking about Kaz right now, as it's going to be a hardcore war, Joel, as it's going to be Team Bully, which is not the people in this graphic right here. It's actually going to be Bully Ray, Brian Myers, and Moose, not the what is it? The Good Hands. The Good Hands are not going to be in this matchup. It's going to be Moose and Brian Myers taking their place, Masha Slamovich and Kenny King versus Team Dreamer of Yua Uemura, Bhupinder
Gujar.
Bhupinder Jun. Yeah, you said it. Killer Kelly.
Just say Gujar for Christ's sake.
Gujar. And Frankie Kazarian, of course, this is playing off of the longtime rivalry between Tommy Dreamer and Bully Ray that got reignited when Bully Ray turned heel late last year, going into his matchup with Josh Alexander. Since losing to Josh, he's had this fierce rivalry with Tommy Dreamer, his former best friend. They had the busted open matchup at Sacrifice that Tommy Dreamer technically did win, but the referee did not see Bully Ray busted open, so Bully Ray won, I guess. And then all these other individuals have kind of gotten involved over the last couple of weeks. What have you thought about the build up to this matchup? Who do you think wins? Of course, a hardcore war, for anyone who doesn't know, is basically a war games without the steel cage. That's basically all it is, and the extra ring. It's a war games matchup. Starts off with two. Every 90 seconds or 2 minutes, a new participant comes in, and Team Bully has the advantage in this hardcore war.
Okay, where do I start? I called this Busted Open Island on our post show. I enraged members of Busted Open Radio's team when I talk about this, so I'm going. Yes, so I will be a little. I didn't enrage them. I received DMs about it. So yeah, I'll tell you later. So I don't care about this. In 2023, no one should give a damn about Bully Ray and Tommy Dreamer in a wrestling match. Tommy Dreamer is great when you bring him in for the nostalgia pop and you have him do a few shots here and there, but like in a multi-match feud in 2023 in Impact Wrestling, it is just dumb. There's no other way to put it. However, and again, I talked a lot of trash about this build. Last night, Bully Ray gave the best promo I have ever seen him give in his time in Impact Wrestling. This run specific. He gave an ECW vibes promo. And one thing that helped is that they were shooting it in the stairwell of the gym where they were shooting in Windsor. So like that gave it that feel, but they shot it so well and Bully spoke so well that it made me care about this match. That being said, I still don't care about the feud. I'm excited for everybody else who's going to be in this match. I'm excited for Masha. I'm excited for Killer Kelly to get a spotlight. I'm excited for Kenny King to break free. And this whole thing started, Kenny King joined Team Bully because he told Edward Edwards to GFY after he didn't come up for Edwards when King and PCO had a match at Sacrifice. So King was like, I'm going to go do my own thing and I'm going to go make an impact elsewhere because you clearly don't care and I want to be a guy. And then what does he do? He does the advantage match. He has good showing against Kazarian. He wins, albeit Moose and Myers helped out, but he still stood out. So the point is here, Kenny King is on an upward trajectory that we need to see out of him. The other side of the coin, Moose and Myers joining, by the way, makes perfect sense because they're draws with the company. Former Impact World Champion Brian Myers has a very successful podcast with his best buddy Matt Cardona, yada, yada, yada. It just works. Good hands are fine. They'll be there at ringside. They'll get involved. They'll get put through a table. Or
get Canadian destroyed by your father.
Most likely, yes. Now, the Bully side of things, I'm sitting here and I'm like, man, this is the weirdest team you could possibly put together. Yuya Uemura, who hasn't really been on TV since he had an injury scare at the last tapings. Bhupinder Gujar, who they added to the team at the very last minute through a digital media short.
And he was the second. He was the plan B because he originally asked Scott DeVore to be on the team.
And there is a history with Gujar and Bully Ray, so like they just didn't kind of connect it so well. And then you have Killer Kelly, who's been kind of around but not really doing stuff in the Knockouts division. And I'm missing one more person. Who am I missing on Team Dreamer? Kazarian. I'm sorry. I like Kazarian. He's a good wrestler, but like I don't know what his place is. And I guess they're still trying to figure that out. What's his place in Impact Wrestling in 2023? The X Division Championship run just so that he could option see it the next night. I despise that booking. I still do. And I talked to Speedball Mike Bailey in an interview that literally drops in 20 minutes on the Fightful channel where we talk about that whole thing. So check that out when you get a chance. Not right now because we're here live talking about the show, but do it afterwards. Okay. So I think Team Dreamer still gets the win, which is the weirdest part of all this. because we got to finish this stupid story better than Cody could do it because he can't finish a story to save his life. But instead, Team Dreamer will, and we'll finish the story, and that'll be that. And I've been saying this for so long. Hopefully, this is the last we see of Bully in Impact Wrestling. But every time I say it, the next night at the tapings, he does something, and I'm just like, son of a bitch.
Hey, I was all right with Bully. I'll be honest. After the matchup with at Hard to Kill, that was much better than it had any right to be.
100%.
I was and his work going into that, where he really cemented himself as one of the top heels in the company again, because he does cut good promos. He can get good heat. The angle that they did at Overdrive with Josh's wife, that was one of the best heated angles that Impact has done in a while. So all that withstanding, I do agree with everyone in the chat. I do agree with Joel. And this damn feud. And yes, I'm going with Team Dreamer, even though I will say I also agree with your point that I like a lot more people on the Team Bully than I do Team Dreamer, but Team Dreamer kind of has to win to end this feud. So Dreamer has a win, but of course he can't get a singles win over Bully.
Now, here's the big thing. I fully understand and support why they did this as like a big busted open radio crossover. Everybody won with that crossover. Like Impact did well, busted open radio got a lot of parlay out of it. Like there was good stuff. It's just gone on a month too long at this point. The busted open match should have been the culmination. This first blood match, that should have been it. And it should have ended with Dave LaGreca coming out and like kicking Bully in the balls, and Dreamer gets the win. And then everyone goes back to work on Monday, and that's it.
Yes, the stipulation should have been everyone goes back to work and nothing changes. They're all right. They don't have to build anything up on their radio show anymore.
And by the way, in the chat, they're saying Impact did well by what standards? Well, you have Bully, Dreamer, and Mickey James all on that show, Busted Open Radio, every single week talking about Busted Open and talking about Impact Wrestling. So like Impact did well in that there was cross promotion, including at No Surrender in Las Vegas. So there was actual there was opportunity for Impact and Busted Open to kind of find a different audience, maybe find people who didn't have that connection before.
Yeah, they have done a good job of any like Busted Open Radio fans that are trying to listen for like their WWE or AEW conversations. They are making them become Impact fans because they have so many of their stars on there and they're building up actual angles on the show. So I understand that. And to explain to Frantic World, basically Masha is cool with Bully because Bully had an issue with Mickey James before Masha's match with Mickey at No Surrender, and they formed a friendship from there, and they've kind of been loosely associated since then. Yeah. And I do agree with CPZ. Yeah, it seems like Bobby Ray does genuinely love Masha Slamovich. I don't think that was planned when he picked her up. When he picked her up.
It was so awkward.
It was. It very much was. Yeah.
I want to ask about that now.
Yes. Next interview. There you go. Next one. The next few matches are the matches that I'm most interested in, and they're the championship matches. First one is for the Impact X Division Championship. You got Trey Miguel defending the title against former champion Speedball Mike Bailey and Jonathan Gresham. Gresham and Speedball have been having a series of matches over the last couple of months, with them going 1-1 during their third matchup 2 weeks ago on Impact on Access TV. It went to a no contest, with the stipulation being the winner would get a shot at the X Division Championship, but Trey Miguel got involved, caused a no contest. And I do like the fact that when the backstage segment afterwards, Trey Miguel wasn't an idiot champion who never understands why these things become a triple threat. And I actually did an interview with Trey Miguel, which kind of I was like, loosely, it's associated with this because Trey Miguel, in my interview, it was before Multiverse United, he says he thrives in these multi-man matches. He says he feels at home in these multi-man matches. He doesn't mind defending the title against 2 challengers, 3 challengers, 5 challengers. So when he responded like, okay, yeah, sure, I'll verse both of them, I was like, yes, that's Trey. That's Trey, 100%. So I like that, but the added stipulation is he has to pin both guys. He has to eliminate both guys because it's an elimination 3-way matchup. 3 of the best performers in Impact Wrestling. This should be a show stealer. Who you got, Joel?
This is the most confusing match to me in the best way possible. Okay. Trey retaining is a solid pick because Trey as X Division champion is still going and it's still good. And they just did that X Division 4-way on this week's show where it was 4 faces in the ring. You had Black Taurus, you had Lince Dorado, who was the special guest, so we'll just knock him out. You had Rich Swann, and who was the 4th? You had Laredo Kid coming back from injury. This is like, it was just showing you there are still opportunities for Trey Miguel to put this title up in high-level X Division championship matches. So there's an option for him to win and sneak out as the champion. You have Mike Bailey. Speedball can recapture his X Division championship, the one that he shouldn't have lost. And he told me in the interview that I mentioned earlier that's dropping that he wants to challenge as X Division champion for the World Championship without doing option C. So he wants to challenge for the world title while holding the X Division championship. So that's something else you could do, is have eventually, let's just say Maclin wins the world title on Sunday night. You can have Speedball go ahead and face Steve Maclin, title versus title. Now here's the big brain move. Jonathan Gresham is spinning his wheels, but I don't think it's because they want to get him to the world title. I think it's because they want to turn him. And this is the opportunity you have to have Gresham turn heel, cheat to win on the second fall, and capture the X Division championship, and then maybe set up a reign of terror with a certain partner of his who is competing for a Knockouts World Championship.
I can see that.
I was couples.
I was more leaning into his significant other turning heel, but we'll talk about that matchup in a bit here. But yeah, this I do agree with you. This is probably the most difficult to predict because I can see anybody winning this one. Trey Miguel has been having a really good run and surprised me how well he has been a heel. And when I did my interview with him, he kind of explained his reasoning. He was like, I got kidnapped. I got kidnapped by Steve Maclin and waterboarded. He was like, Ace Austin tried to hit on my mom. He was explained all the stuff that's happened to him. So it's made him just say F it and turn heel. So he's been having a really good run with the X Division Championship. I would love to see that continue. Speedball Mike Bailey is arguably one of my favorite wrestlers in the world today and one of the best. I would love to see him get another run, but I kind of do agree with the chat and with you. I think that Jonathan Gresham is the play here because you have the option to maybe keep him in a tweener role where he can have more matches, one-on-one against Trey Miguel. But really, it's about putting more stakes onto the tiebreaker between him and Speedball, which I think might be the matchup to do at Slammiversary. Because like you said, it's going to be, still in Canada. You got the Canadian boy here, Speedball Mike Bailey. So Gresham Speedball 4 with the X Division Championship on the line, I think would be interesting. But yeah, I'm going to go with Jonathan Gresham. We got a interesting question here from Romeo, who says, who is having a better run, Trey Miguel or Wes Lee? I would say Wes Lee because I think the quality of his matches have been very, very high. But if you're talking about character work, I would think Trey Miguel has been better than Wes Lee.
Yeah, at the same time, Trey Miguel's having great matches.
He is too, yeah.
In some ways, they're even because also Wes Lee, I don't think has held the title nearly as long as Trey Miguel has.
I believe they won it around the same time, if I'm not mistaken, because I think it was like maybe like 2-3 weeks apart because Trey won his at Overdrive in November and Wesley won the North American Championship at Halloween Havoc on October 26th, if I'm not mistaken. So just a couple of weeks apart, they got their titles.
Yeah, okay. So then maybe it just feels to me like Trey Miguel's held the X Division Championship longer because he's just held it more times than Wesley has the North American.
Yeah.
That being said, man, it's kind of apples to oranges in a way because Trey is also doing a whole new character, right?
Yeah.
The heel character is completely different. He's snapped. He's off the chain. It's different. Whereas Wesley is doing, he's just been Wesley this entire time, and he's being rewarded for being Wesley, who's a great wrestler. So yeah, I think they both have the same thing going, just in different. Like the runs are equally good, is where I'm going with this. Yeah.
And I also talked to Trey Miguel about, if he is going to lose the titles, I would say Impact, if you're watching, take my memo. Go over and sign Myron Reed and bring in the Rascals. Bring the Rascals back to Impact Wrestling, but as heels this time.
Yeah.
I think that would be the move.
I'm still curious as to how long Jonathan Gresham's Impact contract is. Because there was an interview that dropped with Nick Hausman and Jonathan Gresham, where essentially he said, the door's still open for me to come back to Ring of Honor. And I think that he might want to go back. I don't know when, I don't know where, and this is a hunch. I'm not saying I have any insider information, but I wouldn't be surprised because he signed in December of 2022 to Impact. I wouldn't be surprised if the Gresham deal is a year or maybe less.
That would be very interesting. And I will say that House of Wrestling with Nick Hausman interview, go out of your way to read up on that one and watch it because it's a good one because he really goes in depth about his whole falling out with Tony Khan and Ring of Honor and AEW. But that match is going to be great. The 3-way match for the X Division Championship. I think this, though, will be the match of the night for the Impact World Tag Team Championships. It's going to be ABC, the Bullet Club's Ace Austin and Chris Bay, the Ace and Bay connection, defending the titles against the former champions, the New Japan Strong Openweight champions for now, the Motor City Machine Guns, Chris Sabin and Alex Shelley, in an Ultimate X match. This is only, I believe, the 4th time the Impact World Tag Team titles have been defended in this type of matchup, in the signature match for Impact Wrestling, the Ultimate X. And out of the 3 previous times, the Motor City Machine Guns have been in 2 of them against the Young Bucks, then Generation Me, and Beer Money. So they have plenty of experience. Chris Sabin has been in more Ultimate X matches than anyone in Impact Wrestling history. ABC is risking it all in pretty much the Motor City Machine Guns type of matchup. Of course, it was ABC that defeated the Machine Guns to win the Impact World Tag Team titles. These 2 teams have been feuding pretty much since last year. This feels like the blow off to this feud. What do you got here, Joel?
So first of all, let's talk about Chris Sabin. 20 years in Impact Wrestling this week. He was in the first 3 Ultimate X matches.
Yes.
Do you know how many Ultimate X matches in total this man has been in?
I want to say 18.
I think it's either 18 or it's 20. One for every year he's been.
Oh my
God. Behind him is his tag team partner, Alex Shelley, who's been in 7. And
he's beating everybody by at least 10. Oh my God.
And then you have Ace Austin, who's been in 3, has never won. Bay has been in 2, he's never won. I think this is the year where Ace of Bays walk out winning an Ultimate X match. And this is almost certainly going to open the show. Because that's usually what Impact does, is that they'll set up the strings and then take them down during the break after the first match. This will be hot. This will be a great match. I'm going to be a little upset seeing Motor City Machine Guns walk out without any titles around their waist on Sunday, because I feel like Saturday is not going to go their way, and I feel like Aussie Open are going to be walking out with 4 sets of belts around their collective waists. So, or I guess 4 titles in total, 2 sets of belts, whatever. You know what I'm saying. They'll be the IWGP and New Japan Strong Open Heavyweight Tag Team Champions by the end of Saturday night. So Motor City, they did re-sign with Impact Wrestling, which is good news. They lose nothing in a loss. They put over great young talent, and this match will be bonkers. That's just the way it is. But I feel like, feels like it's going to be Ace of Base picking up the win.
I agree with you. I got the ABC winning. I recently interviewed Chris Bay. He talked about how emotional the win to beating the Motor City Machine Gun and how long he's been a fan. He said he used to walk to school with the machine gun dog tags and stuff. And Ace correcting me and saying 20.
Okay, so I was
God
right.
damn. Yes, one for every year he's been in Impact.
Wild. By the way, I love that nobody can actually give you an actual name for Ace Austin and Chris Bay's tag team.
I know they say Bullet Club on the graphic, but they always call themselves ABC.
Last night the graphic said ABC. That's what they're trying to call themselves. But like on our post show, we call them Ace of Bays because, of course.
I love it. But it seems like most everyone in the chat is saying ABC for the win. I mean, it would be surprise. It would be a surprise if the Machine Guns win. And I also agree with you. We did our preview for New Japan Pro Wrestling's Capital Collision. I got Aussie Open walking into Forbidden Door with multiple titles against FTR there. So, yeah. I think ABC get the win. I love some people even calling them Black Bullet Club.
Well, I'm really interested. Speaking of Forbidden Door, I'm really interested to see if they'll let Ace of Bays get involved with that, because I feel like ELP is going to show up. I know this is an AEW show, but like I feel like ELP is going to show up and join Bullet Club Gold. And you know who else I think is going to show up and join Bullet Club Gold, because this is an Impact Wrestling show? I think Jeff Jarrett's going to show up.
Oh God.
Former he's still in the Bullet Club. Let's face it, because you never leave your for life.
For life.
He's Bullet Club for life is Jeff Jarrett, and the gold thing. You have to do it. You have to do it.
Don't wish this upon me, Ricky Bobby. What are you doing? What are you
happening? And then he's gonna do a 3-hour podcast on it with Connie.
Oh God. MW Network saying you would never think Shelly and Sabin clocking 20 years. Take care of your health, kids. You can look like them while working 20 Ultimate X matches. Yes. Greatness. I would be interested where ABC's loyalty lies, because when I talked to Chris Bay, he was like, "Oh, everything's good in the Bullet Club. Everything's all right. Bullet Club's fine. Bullet Club is fine." But I mean, Jay is the one that brought him into the club. He was the one that brought Ace into the club. I don't know how they feel about David Finlay. It's very interesting. I would love to see where they align, and I agree. I would love to see them at Forbidden Door too. But we got to talk about the big two title matches, the semi-main event for the Impact Wrestling Knockouts World Championship is now official. We're going to crown a new champion, as Mickie James is not medically cleared to compete at Impact Rebellion. So you have two former champions in there in this one, two former two-time Impact World Knockouts World Champions in Jordynne Grace and Deonna Purrazzo. Jordynne Grace getting her rematch for the Impact Wrestling Knockouts World Championship. Deonna Purrazzo earned this opportunity, winning a 4-way at Multiverse United. And Deonna Purrazzo is 2-0 all time against Jordynne Grace. Does Jordynne Grace finally defeat Deonna, or did Deonna go 3-0 and 3-time Impact Knockouts World Champion?
This is a tough one to call. So, first of all, it sucks seeing Mickie James not being available to be part of this match at all. I think the hope was from the get-go that they would do a triple threat. She would take a couple of moves and drop the title to either woman. That's fine. It sucks that they can't do it like that. It sucks that she had to deliver that promo on Thursday about dropping the title and relinquishing the title, and the last rodeo being over, and so on and so forth. So I got to give my flowers to Mickie James, who wanted so badly to be part of this match and tell this story, but injuries say otherwise. Now, Deonna and Jordynne Grace. If Jordynne Grace turns heel, and that's what we're talking about, then she wins this match 100%. Deonna Purrazzo turning face and chasing Jordynne Grace for that title There's a lot of fun in there because we've seen Deanna as a heel. We've seen Jordan as a face. Let's flip-flop it and see where it goes. Because clearly the Masha Slamovich experiment is still not being, they're not pulling the trigger on Masha as champion yet. But I think they will if Deanna beats Jordan Grace and then they do Masha versus Deanna down the line. So with all that in mind, I do think that Jordan Grace wins, maybe cheats her way into it. She didn't tap, but she did tap out Mickey. You know, they'll play up something like that. I see the Deanna and Maclin thing. We talked about this on our post show last night. The problem with that is you just turned Deanna face.
Exactly.
Everyone wants to cheer her. You can't suddenly pull the wool out from under her, or for the rug out from under her face turn. Maclin, you can't turn that. You cannot.
No.
Level of
this man talk trash. I interviewed him this week. It's dropping later today, and I asked him, "You talk trash to a 4-year-old kid?" Like
he leans into it, and he does a great job. But the fact is, you can't. Like the dynamic doesn't work. And I was trying to figure out a way that maybe it would, because those two as a power couple as heels would be great, but it ain't going to happen right now. I think Jordan Grace wins. And if she does, she's got to be turning heel. She's got to do it. We got to start working on other knockouts that are going to challenge Jordan and have like meaningful matches with her. So that's where I'm at, is Jordan Grace.
I agree with you. I'm going with Jordan Grace with a heel turn. I think that they've been teasing it ever since Hard to Kill, with how she's been very adamant that Mickey tapped out. Her promos have been leaning more heelish to me than, being a frustrated babyface. It kind of sounds like a whiny babyface, whiny heel more than a frustrated babyface with her promos. So I think that it's just leading to her. And if you want to make a power couple, have Gresham do a slightly heel thing and win the X Division Championship, and then help his significant other win the Knockouts World Championship. I would be down for that as well.
Yeah, cement that heel turn the next night of the TV tapings. Start planting the seeds. I'm talking for Gresham. Gresham, like make it feel weird, and then cement it the next night. But Jordan, you got to do on Sunday night in that title match.
Agreed. We're in agreement there. And I think we might be in agreement for the main event for the Impact World Championship. It's going to be Steve Maclin versus KUSHIDA. Of course, Josh Alexander was supposed to be in this matchup, the longest reigning Impact World Champion, unfortunately getting injured, a bicep tear that has kept him, that he had to have surgery on, and now he has relinquished the championship. So a new champion will be crowned. Will it be one of the greatest junior heavyweights in New Japan Pro Wrestling history, or Steve Maclin, a guy that kind of started from the bottom in 2021 and has rose to the top here in the main event at Rebellion? 1 year since his biggest victory in Impact, when he beat Chris Sabin and Jay White. Does he get the win here, or does KUSHIDA stop him? Who you got, Joel?
You got to give it to Steve Maclin. You have to. You can do a thing where KUSHIDA is a short-term champion, but like, man, Macklin's reign of terror has to start in Toronto. It has to start in like the most obnoxious way. So that's where I'm at. It's Macklin's time. Let's go.
Yeah, I honestly, this is one where, like I said, I think Jordan Grace wins the Knockouts World Championship by cheating, turning heel. I think with Steve Maclin, despite him being, everything that you need to be a top heel, I think he needs to win this relatively clean. He needs to beat KUSHIDA convincingly, and maybe it's like, or he shows no remorse and he just beats the crap out of him, something like that. But it needs to firmly cement him, and it's sad because I feel like even if Josh was in this matchup, Steve Maclin was the guy to dethrone and end the longest reign in Impact Wrestling history. But I still think that Steve Maclin gets crowned in the main event here.
There was such a good story with Maclin and Alexander, and Macklin's eventual crowning as champion. Yeah. It was going to be Maclin scouted Josh Alexander, had an answer for everything, beat the man clean, maybe a little dirty, but not too dirty that it was like, we got to revisit this immediately. That being said, KUSHIDA, you can have him win to have a babyface champion and go off the air with it. But honestly, I'd rather have the Knockouts title main event the show at this point, because those are your two biggest tentpole knockouts in your division. That's a huge match, Perazzo and Grace. And then having Grace turn and having her and Gresham in the ring, double champion at the end of the show, hand held high, that's a visual. Maclin
That is true.
winning the title is a big deal, but it's not as big of a deal as it would have been if he had done it in Josh's backyard, really causing a ruckus.
I agree with you 100%. I think that it would have meant more, and I would be down with Jordan and Deanna main eventing, because honestly, I feel Steve Maclin is gonna have his reign, and you can go pretty much the end of the year with Steve Maclin as champion. But I would say at Bound for Glory, whoever is not Knockouts champion, I think it's about time we revisit the female world champion again. Because the other female world champion, they're never going to mention, and they're never going to really show clips of the way everything turned out. And I think they need to wash that away. And how would it be if Steve Maclin drops the Impact World Championship to Deanna Purrazzo?
Have you been talking to Steven Jensen?
Yes, I have. Me and Jensen talked about that after Josh got hurt. We were like, yeah, it needs to be time for a female. I was more leaning to Jordan Grace, but I like this to kind of freshen things up with Jordan Grace is the heel turn and she gets back the Knockouts World Championship. I would be so down for Deanna to dethrone her husband, Steve Maclin.
Could happen. It could happen. But for now, Maclin winning is just, it's got to be that. It's got to be. But I don't think the main events. I do think the Knockouts title is now the main event, especially with Mickey presenting the title to the winner. Oh, buddy, the heat you can get with Jordan Grace just slapping Mickey to the ground after the match. Let's do it. That's fine.
And that would mean their two major shows so far this year was main evented by the Knockout. So that's a big statement for, us. The people that do watch Impact always talk about the Impact treats their women's division a lot better than every other major promotion out there. So
yeah, I say this a lot with Impact. I understand it's been 20 plus years with Impact, and some people feel like they've been burned too many times by changing ownership and just people coming in and out of the company and talking trash about the company, just general feelings about it. I get it. Right now, Impact is in probably the most advantageous spot they've been in 20 years. Well, really in 15 years at least. It's worth giving a shot to Impact Wrestling at this point, because there really is something for everyone, and not in that obnoxious, oh, we're SNL type of way. There's a lot of different wrestling styles in Impact. So I do think people should give Impact a chance. At least the free stuff that you can find online, it's worth it.
I definitely agree with you. I enjoy it most weeks. Most weeks I enjoy Impact Wrestling, has one or two really good to great matches. And always, I would say, since like 2018, their major shows, their specials, always deliver. It's always an enjoyable show from top to bottom. And I think that this is going to be no different, especially with the Ultimate X, with the three-way for the X Division Championship. And these top two matches, I think, are all going to deliver in certain ways. But I know my man, Joel Pearl, you're going to see him over on the Fightful Wrestling YouTube channel following Impact Rebellion this coming Sunday. Joel, thank you so much for joining us for our preview here. Please let the people know where they can follow you on social media, where they can see you on the Fightful Wrestling YouTube channel, Fightful Overbooked, and everything else you got going on.
I'm very easy to find. I'm at Joel Pearl, JoelPearl, over on youtube.com/Fightful. As I mentioned earlier, we just dropped an interview with Speedball Mike Bailey. We taped that interview just after GCW Worst Behavior. Same night, I also spoke to Masha Slamovich, spoke to Effie. That interview is dropping this weekend. Go check those out over on youtube.com/Fightful, where Cresta Star and I host the Post Impact Show every Thursday night at 10 p.m. Eastern. And then I got Fightful Overbooked. Content drops every day. SP3's there. Jeremy Lambert's there. Steven Jensen shows up once in a while. Kate shows up. We do a whole plethora of stuff. So go check us out over there. And otherwise, just find me. I'm everywhere. I'm nebulous. I am all men as I am equal, or something. I don't know. Thanks for having me, SP3.
And look at that body he's got on him. Look at the tan, the abs. My Lord. This man is still keeping in shape, even though he's not the wall anymore.
There we go. That's the wall, brother. You gotta fill it. There, it's perfect. Grab your screenshots.
Flex for him. Flex for him. Yes, thank you so much to Joel for joining us. You can follow me on the Twitter machine at TrueHillSP3. Follow the gang, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at TrueHillHeat. Patreon.com/TrueHillHeat. $3 a month gets you in the True Hill Heat Prediction Championship. We got plenty of shows to do predictions for with New Japan Pro Wrestling, Capital Collision on Saturday, Collision in Philadelphia on Sunday, Triple A Triple Mania on Sunday, plus Impact Rebellion. Also, join us at True Hill Heat Sports YouTube channel as we're going live in a few minutes with THHC True Hill Heat Check. Previewing the NBA playoffs that's going on right now. So you can join us over there. We'll be going live in about 5 minutes time. And then, of course, join us on Sunday right here on the True Hill Heat YouTube channel for our watch along for Impact Rebellion. And also join us in a little while later today. We got my interview dropping with Steve Maclin, the future Impact World Champion, according to me and Joel Pearl. We talk about Impact Rebellion, talk about his huge matchup with Kushida, his wife, Deonna Purrazzo, any pressure on him to live up to her status, her legacy in Impact Wrestling. We talk all about that. So join us here, 7 p.m. Eastern Time. That's dropping right here on the True Hill Heat YouTube channel. And if you like Krista Starr and you're going to see her on Sunday following Rebellion, you can see her before that, tomorrow, 11:05 a.m. Eastern Time. Cresta Star will be our special guest on True Hill Heat 221. So join us live for that tomorrow morning. Got all the people from Fightful this weekend. All the Fightful Impact Club is here this weekend.
Cresta rules. Okay, no one's watching Impact for me. They're watching for Cresta. Go, please watch Cresta on True Hill Heat tomorrow. Or is it tomorrow or is it Sunday? Sorry.
Tomorrow. Yes.
My brain is frazzled. So go watch Cresta tomorrow on True Heel Heat. Would you please? Thank you.
Well, for Joel Pearl, it is me, your True Hill Phenom SP3. This has been our Impact Wrestling Rebellion 2023 preview. We are signing off until next time.